don't you look at me? I've tried to be as open as I can. Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. Oh, the invisible man.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Invisible Man. My name is Mark Davis Stard. Very nice to be here once again with a guest from the other side of the world. We'll introduce them just shortly. I am here, of course, with my good friend Ryan Jans. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. As I was mentioning to our guests and also to you guys, it's been about it felt like Monday to Friday on Friday alone. So if anybody else has had a week like that, hey, I understand. And we'll make this show for you so you can forget all about that. Just cruise on in and just leave it alone. And as always, no masks required for this show. So please come on in.
Yes, and no nasty comments about looks, everybody. Okay, so sorry we're a little bit late, and I will Motley no, the Kiwis did not sleep in. They were here nice and early. So please like, subscribe, and share. Particularly share. Let's try and get as many people out here watching the live show as possible. Don't forget, your questions are just as important as ours. So please leave your questions in the comments, and we will be sure to get to them. Information about the band are in the descriptions of the live stream. So if you're on Facebook, look up. On YouTube, look down. And they're all clickable links, so you can go check out while you're watching. So without further ado, let's get our guests involved in the show. So from the land of the long white cloud in New Zealand, Hybrid Blues are a four-piece band. Their long-awaited new self-titled album, released in September 2020 with 11 tracks from blues rock, country rock, Latin, stoner blues, rock, soft rock, fulfills the parts of a wild range of music lovers throughout the world with a genre that can only be described as hybrid. So here they are, without any further ado. Here they are, Hybrid Blues. How you doing, guys?
Kia ora.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good afternoon. Yeah, and for those of you who are not aware, it is actually about 9 a.m. on Sunday, so it's 9 a.m. tomorrow there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Oh, they're calling us back in time. I remember crossing the date line once. I flew from Narita Airport in Japan and landed in Hawaii. We took off at 8 o'clock on a Friday and landed at 8 o'clock on the same Friday. It just messes with your head.
So it's great. So we have with us Roy, Mike, and Grant. We're going to get the names not in that order. So let's start with you, Roy. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm the singer songwriter at the moment, because I'm hoping that the guys will start putting some stuff together soon as well for Hybrid Blues. Spent a lot of time in the UK and now back home playing for Hybrid.
Nice. Let's go anti-clockwise there. Grant.
Yeah, hi, Grant. I play the drums for Hybrid Blues. And I've been, obviously you can tell I'm not from New Zealand. I'm originally from Scotland, and I've been in New Zealand for 20 odd years. I'm the new boy in the band of, I don't know, a few months. And it's been quite a quick learning curve, but extremely exciting and a lot of fun. And so that's basically, I'm bumped into Adam, the bass player, who's obviously avoiding this meeting this morning.
Bass players,
and he put my name forward when the band were looking for a drummer. Adam put my name forward, and luckily it's worked out, and I'm having a lot of fun with the guys.
Excellent. Mike.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
And good night. Oh, no.
I'm Mike, the guitarist from the band. I got a call from Adam about 12 months ago, and he gently persuaded me over a couple of phone calls that I should join up, and I'm glad I did. I've really enjoyed it, and find quite an affinity with Roy's songs, and it's easy and fun. I really enjoy it. So good to be a part of. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I have to.
I'd like to point out here, for all the guff that Mark has thrown my way this morning, it seems to be the bass player who's sort of brought everybody in together. Just like to notice, just like to point that out. Just gonna point that out. We don't have to go any further than that, but I would just like to point that out and bring that to everybody's attention.
Yeah. And like I said off air, with all the excuses, Ryan would make a really good Formula One racing driver. Anyhow, moving on. All right.
Hey, don't make me go Dr. Phil on you, all right? We already know that I have a penchant for doing really bad impersonations, and that's the last thing we need is Dr. Phil coming out.
That is the very last thing we need, yes.
So, get yourself warned.
Okay. So, now with your music touching so many genres, I have to ask who are your musical influences? You guys are all over the map.
Oh, gosh. I mean, where do you start? I mean, that's the question everyone always gives us, I think. And we've had so many influences over the years. And I think because the reason why our music is so varied is because we didn't really particularly want to stick to one genre. Even though we're blues-based, we try to bring something different into every song, and I think that's just nice, especially for the listener. And I know for a start, whenever I go and see a band, I don't really want to hear the same thing all night. It's just nice to hear something different, something slow. It just adds variety.
Nice. The other guys there, if you want to jump in, who inspires you?
Yeah, huge eclectic mix of stuff. From British 60s stuff, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Kinks, the Small Faces, all of that. That was my first love, all that stuff. That whole heap of American stuff, from Bob Dylan, Leonard Skinner. The list goes on, as Roy said. There's far too many to mention, and not getting stuck in one pigeonhole. Just trying to keep it. If it's good, it's good. If you like it, you like it. It doesn't really matter what genre it is.
Right.
And that's kind of always been my way of listening to music.
Agreed.
Well said.
Grant's pretty much paraphrased what I would say. It's the same influences. I started out with Eric Clapton and Rory Gallagher, blues-based stuff, and then got more into rock. Richie Blackmore. I like Grand Funk Railroad. That's a good band. But the sensational Alex Harvey band, all sorts of odd things. Grant knows them.
Another good Scotsman.
Yeah. Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush and stuff like that. Yes. It's what I like listening to anyway. Yeah.
Okay, and now a follow-up question.
I
think
that was the nicest thing with our label, is that they listened to what we were playing rather than trying to figure out what genre we were coming from. Because I think a lot of people, they always ask, the first question is, well, what genre are you? And they can't figure out where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I think, why have a genre to stick to? Why not play everything? And I know why people labels like to stick with one genre, but we don't.
Right. So sticking with the topic, of all of the bands or the musicians, the singers that you personally that influenced you, is there any actor, any band, or any musician who influenced you that would surprise your audience?
Well,
Patsy Cline.
I think the guy, the songwriter.
Patsy Cline? Did you say Patsy Cline?
I did say Patsy Cline.
Nice.
That's the first time. That's the first time we've ever had Patsy Cline mentioned on the show. I was waiting because it's like blues, rock. I was like, we're going to be talking about AC/DC because you guys are just like across the street from each other, right? So it's like, Patsy Cline?
Love Patsy Cline.
I was going to say, as a singer-songwriter, I think Billy Joel was always the guy that sort of caught my ear, I think, because of his songwriting. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he himself was pretty much all over the map as well. He didn't really stick to any one genre either. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What do you figure, Grant or Mike? What do you figure? You think who's that oddball one for you guys that no one would ever?
For me, it's be the sensational Alex Harvey band from Scotland. If you haven't heard them, look them up on YouTube. Yeah, awesome, theatrical, interesting stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, probably Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah, I like this guy.
Favorite duos of all time. Fabulous songwriting, fabulous harmonies and melodies. And a lot of people think that's a bit kind of soft, but when you look at the musicians that they've played with over the years, just the fact that they've had Steve Gadd on drums, it tells its own story,
Yeah. Yep.
Softer almost seems more difficult because if you look at a song like "The Sound of Silence" that they produce, incredibly haunting, deep, introspective, and it's almost eerie. That would be a lot harder to compose than say doing a song like "Raining Blood" by Slayer, where you have I can be mad, I can be angry, we can play fast, we can play distorted, we can do all those things, and we can make it angry. But if you want something, Slayer is what it is. That's it. I could talk thrash metal all day long. I mean, I kind of come out of that scene there, right? So, but that's okay. Versus going to something with a little bit more like over here with Simon and Garfunkel. So you get the whole spectrum here. You even have a 6-string bass right here. And yes, I've named them all.
It's just like George Foreman named all of his children George. Those are all called Sally.
No. That is okay. So this one here's Alexis. That's Elizabeth. That's Patty. And that's Sally. And I have a couple that are two of my other bass guitars are out on loan to some people. May is out on loan to my friend's daughter, and a local musician here asked to borrow my acoustic bass, and I've not seen it back yet.
So
Amber,
here's a fun question.
listening.
Here's a fun question, and I'll back that up. People often ask me, do I name my guitars? And I'll always, just on the spur of the moment, I'll just make something up. Edna, I often go to, or Ethel. So I don't actually name my guitars. But do you guys name your instruments? Is that something you guys do?
No.
Okay. So Ryan, you're a freak.
That's an exciting answer, right? No.
Here we go. Okay. And I think before we hand over to the chat, because I think we got some questions there.
It was good. It was good enough for BB King. BB King had Lucille.
Yeah, for all of his guitars, all of them.
He did.
They were all called.
All of them that were the same guitar that he probably played through his career. Just called them Lucille.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, we do have some questions in the chat, but I was such a serious, semi-serious question anyway that I'd like to ask Roy. So you are of the Aotearoa tribe there in New Zealand, and I was just kind of wondering. I mean, we talked off air that I've met as many people from Australia and New Zealand, and they're all whites. So I don't really have any real exposure to the indigenous cultures over there. So, because a very broad question, what was it like growing up there? And do you think that has gotten in the way of your music, or has it helped?
Well, before I start off, the place where I was born and the place where the iwi or the tribe is from It's a place called Wakatani. But I wanted to start off with that because it's actually not pronounced as Wakatani, because WH is actually pronounced F.
Oh,
So
okay.
Ryan, can you pronounce that?
What? Okay, so is wech? Is that it?
Yeah, it's just Wakatani, but pronounce the WH as an F.
This is supposed to be a children's show. This is supposed to be a family show.
Hey, Ryan. Go on, Ryan.
There we go.
Pronounce it.
I even censored it there with the.
Yeah. Wakatani. Yeah. There you go. You can say it because it's actually the proper
There you go.
pronunciation.
Is it Fakatani? Is that it?
That is correct. Yeah,
All right.
so
Woohoo!
yeah, well done. So anytime you're in New Zealand, pronounce your WHs like Whangarei and like that. WHs are pronounced with an F. So
Right.
yeah, I was born in a place called Whakatane. In fact, an interesting story was my son is in England, and his teacher once asked him where the whānau or the iwi was from, and he said we properly pronounced it as Whakatane, and he actually got expelled from the room because the teacher thought he was swearing. Yeah, he was sent outside the room and sent to the office, and then explained to the principal that this is actually the right way to pronounce it.
And they never asked
yeah.
him again.
I was raised in Whakatane from till about the age of 6, and then we moved to Tauranga from there. I'm very proud of our iwi and where we're from. We're very strong whānau, or family as it's called. There again, whānau, WH, family. So yeah. So yeah, very proud to be a part of the iwi. Unfortunately, I didn't sort of spend too much time in Whakatane to learn my culture as such, and I spent 30 years in the UK. So shamefully, I feel like it's time to actually get more involved with that.
Hey, thank you. Ryan, do you want to check the chat there, see if we've got any questions lined up?
Oh boy, do we ever. In fact, our good friend Muttley Rise Wood has been just throwing them out one after another. And at the very beginning of the episode, people might have noticed that I kind of did a bit of a take there, because Muttley caught me with this question the first time he joined the show. And I, of course, I thought, yeah, okay. We grew up with like CBC and PBS and stuff, and so I've seen lots of British shows and happen to like a lot of British shows. But he throws out a couple here, and he asks me, and he says, hey, you got to give some context here. He says, I have a question, but I need to clarify first. They don't have a sausage sarnies in New Zealand, but they do have a sausage sizzle in the car park at New World. So I ask, would you like a sausage sizzle or a bacon buddy? To you, gentlemen, what would you like? Now, we've got at least two people who spent a considerable amount of time in the UK. So
that was the worst pronunciation at all there, Ryan, by the way.
Yeah. What's that, sorry?
That was the worst pronunciation of those two words I've heard. Yeah. Anyhow, hey, only one. No.
So I say to you, gentlemen, with my wonderful Canadian accent of how I just butchered those wonderful cultural words, please, what would you prefer? A sausage sizzle or
definitely
a
bacon butty.
All right.
But there is a proviso that it has HP brown sauce on it, which is an absolute must.
All right.
Criminal not to have it.
Now you got to give me some context. Is that the kind of thing that you would grab? I know with HP brown sauce, but would you grab a bacon buddy? Yes, there it is. There we go. Would you get that? Is that one of those things where it's like it's 6 a.m. and you've been out at a gig and you ended at 2 and you packed up and then you went to, that's what you'd be eating, chowing down first thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right. So that's like going to the equivalent of going to Salisbury House here in Manitoba and getting a cheese nip. That's like just this really thick patty of like nasty like ground beef with melted processed cheese and goodness knows what else. Whatever they've scraped off the grill. That's your hangover remedy, is what you're telling me.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. What about you, Roy? What do you figure?
that's a good question, actually. I'd probably have a bacon butty as well, but I'd prefer the Kiwi burger with beetroot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, what is on a Kiwi burger?
Yeah, it's got to have beetroot in it.
Oh, beetroot. We'll have to try that. I like beetroot. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to give that a go.
I might try that without going.
Shameful.
Now, I've
That's
got a beetroot story, actually, if I can jump in. Apparently, when I was very young. Apparently, when I was very young, my mum, and I think she's probably watching the show, actually, I was rushed to hospital because my urine was kind of this pink colour. And they thought I got some nasty problem with my bladder or an infection. It turned out I just eaten a whole jar of beetroots. You know, I'm like a little toddler.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, it will turn your pee pink. So I still love beetroot to this day.
So what do you, Mike? What do you figure? What would you rather have? Are you going for the bacon or are you going for the sizzle?
Oh, I go for the bacon, but it'd have to have egg in it too. So it's a bacon and egg sarnie. That's the best, yeah.
Now, what do you figure? You figure you want to bite into it and you want the yolk going all over the place, or
yeah, that's how you want it. Yeah, I remember I lived in England for a while too, and having stopping.
Has everybody been to England except me?
Yes.
Standing in a truck stop. Sorry, in the middle of winter, eating a bacon and egg sarnie about 3 inches thick. I think they were called doorstops, and they were good, man. They were great. Half a ton of bacon and 2 or 3 eggs in there. Awesome. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What about you, Grant? Would you have a deep fried Mars bar?
I have a deep fried Mars bar before, yeah. Very interesting. Scottish delicacy.
Yeah.
And very healthy as well.
Oh, who cares about that? You only live. You sleep fine when you're good and dead. Don't worry about that.
Fine, absolutely fine.
See that right there? You see, like, okay. So the little deception is, if you saw my name, it's pronounced Jans or Jans if you're pronouncing the proper Austrian way of saying it. But I'm actually adopted, and my biological mother has Scottish roots. So when things like deep fried Mars bars and overcast, dreary, rainy days, I just like, the homeland, she calls me. She calls
very good.
home. She bids me come.
And Ryan, I will actually say that Ryan does have the typical see-through Scottish skin, so white it's almost see-through.
Oh,
Actually pale.
They call me the fair
pale
fool.
blue in parts.
Aye, there you go, mate.
It takes me 2 weeks in the sun to go white rather than pale blue with the normally
And then you go straight into being a tomato, right? Because that's how you people say it, tomato, even though it's tomato, right? Wait, Roy and Mike, is it tomato or tomato?
Tomato.
See?
You said like both. You combined them both.
No, he said it the English way, but from the back of the mouth. That's tomato.
Yeah.
So it's he said it right. It's close enough. It's an R, not an A.
I'm not gonna win. I'm not gonna win any of this here. I'm outnumbered. Grant and I'll just talk in like Scottish accents, and no one will understand us.
Yeah. I still get asked a lot to repeat myself, and even after 20 years in New Zealand. So I've decided that all you really need to do is slow down. You don't have to change the way you speak. If you slow down, people will understand you. And if they don't get you the third time, forget it.
That's right. They're not trying.
Yeah.
I had the same issue. I've actually been forced to speak slower because even in England they were having trouble understanding me because I would speak so fast. So I might seem fast to you now, but this is a snail's pace to what it was when I landed here 30 years ago.
He does talk fast. It does happen, yeah. There's times where I'll just sort of blankly stare at him like, you have to slow that down. Roll that back. Hold on. Beg your pardon.
As long as you're polite, I don't mind repeating myself.
He is. He's often really good about it. But over the last, 7-8 years that we've been working together, I've just picked up on it. So he talks faster than he did when we first started with me. But I understand. I get him now. So yeah, sure, no problem, Mark. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any more questions in the chat there you've seen?
Apparently, Muttley. I didn't know that Muttley had actually grown up in. He said he grew up in New Zealand. That's news to me. So there we go. Right on, Muttley. And he says, on the subject of deep fried Mars bars, I don't want to cause an international incident, but I remember growing up in New Zealand and having battered Mars bars as early as 1996. Yeah. Well done, Muttley. Atta boy.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah, so, that's controversial. It really is.
So we'll skirt that because I don't want to cause any controversy. But I do have a burning question for us. I don't have a ton of exposure to New Zealand culture. We get the few things. So, obviously we know about Peter Jackson, and there's a couple of acts that came out of there. One of them that I absolutely loved, and this will be the more serious question after we get through this. I have to ask, according to Flight of the Conchords, everybody loves David Bowie in New Zealand. Is this true? Is everybody like huge Bowie fans or is that just unique to the Flight of the Conchords?
I mean, who doesn't love David Bowie? Seriously,
yeah.
There's another guy who never stuck to rules either. So yeah, great guy.
No.
Right on.
And I was never really a big fan of David Bowie, but he's definitely influenced my music. I can actually there's one song where I did a bit of a chord progression because I was so inspired by Space Odyssey or Odyssey. Sorry, one's a movie, one's a song. Yeah, it's really hard. When you're good, you're good.
Well, and David Bowie, like you said, just spans so much. You look at what his early stuff was to the time he was pretty much making music up until the time he passed. You could tell it was Bowie, but it was just different, right? So there you go. That was it. And I guess the more serious one, because it was meant to be a little bit lighthearted. I don't know if you guys are familiar with. Do you guys know the band called The Open Souls from New Zealand?
I'm not aware.
No. Okay. They're one of those bands that we have the Toronto Dominion Bank International Jazz Fest comes through Winnipeg every year. I think it didn't happen last year for obvious reasons because the world ended, but the Open Souls were they're the band that I would say pushed me into this idea of fusion, because they took a lot of this old because they had horns and brass, and then they mixed R&B with some old, how would you say, almost Motown feels, with a very 1960s, with a very, it was just, I found it brilliant. And then they mixed in some very, I guess it would be Aboriginal type of sounds, percussive sounds into their music as well. And it was just, I found it absolutely fascinating. So I was like, wow, this is really good. And I've actually gone on to get a couple of their albums, and they often make it onto playlists in my phone. So well done, New Zealand.
I'll look them up and have a listen.
Yeah, it's their first album, Kaleidoscope, was more of a, there's a lot of hip hop involved in it. The second album that came out is a little bit more withdrawn from this, more R&B style, but definitely you can still tell it's the same.
I think there's one advantage. Well, one thing I actually realized when I was in England is that New Zealanders seem to have all this time to create things and find out and ask themselves questions about how to create different things. I mean, like bungee jumping and all that sort of stuff. I mean, where does that come from, Stick a string on your feet and jump off a bridge, And that's a beautiful thing, I think, about New Zealanders is they have nothing's impossible, and they think of ideas and they say, "Why? Let's try that. Let's do different things." And I think that's the nicest thing about the music in New Zealand too, is they're willing to experiment with different sounds and try different things and not be like everyone else. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Kiwis in general, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got some more questions from the chats there. But before we look at those, just want to remind everybody that if you'd like some more information about Hybrid Blues, we've got some links in the description of the stream. So Facebook, look up, YouTube, look down, and go click on those as well. And I do have some questions, a number of questions from Shalim that are queued up. But the first question I'd like to kind of skip to a later one that you did, Shalim. He says that on Bandcamp he sees one EP. And are there other recordings available as well? Or another question, I guess, is where can they buy your music? Because I know you have at least one full album out.
I guess
on Spotify.
Yep.
Okay.
That's probably the reason why we have a label, is because we're not very good at marketing. So, yeah, mainly Spotify, Apple Music. And I think Bandcamp as well.
There you go, Shalim. If you're having any issues finding that, Shalim, you can for sure send me a note and then I can follow up. I think Tracy is the rep at or your manager or the rep at the label, so I can contact her
correct,
and find. Yeah, so I can contact her and we can get that information if you need it. If you can't find it, good. I go back to the beginning. So we have. So Shalim asked, do you enjoy recording and production, or did you find it a chore?
No, I love it.
I really enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's a great time, and I mean, recently we went when I say recently, last Thursday we went in to record a new single, and when what we practice, and then when we turn up to the studio, everyone's got different ideas and brings it together, and it's amazing how it works because it works really well, and that's a beautiful thing about working with a band of guys or girls. They can understand where you're coming from, and to get that buzz about creating new things is always good fun.
Nice.
Yeah, the studio just gives you an opportunity to do the best possible recording that make the best music that you can possibly do. We're lucky to have a great producer who's full of ideas, very energetic, and a master musician himself. So yeah, we find songs are kind of organic things. They do tend to take on a bit of a life of their own when you get into the studio, and you just go along for the ride and enjoy the journey and see where you end up, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have any thoughts on that, Mike?
Yeah, it's interesting with our songs. Our Roy often will present an idea and we start jamming along with it, and within 5 minutes there's a song, with all the bells and whistles kind of there, all the basics. I mean, there. It's an easy process, it seems to me. It just the type of songs Roy writes just draw out the creativity in me, and I really enjoy that process, being able to overlay different things that you can't do live and make it sound great. Grant, yeah.
Excellent. Actually, I do have a kind of follow-up question. You do so many different genres. You come for so many. You end up with a product they seem so different from each other. Do you write a song knowing that's how you want it to sound, or is it something that kind of develops as everybody joins in?
Well, most of the songs are actually usually written in a tractor when I get bored. And you go along with the hum of the tractor, and then you come up with a beat, and then the beat comes first, and then the words come after that, and then the ideas go from there. But, a lot of stuff that I do bring to the table to the guys, it doesn't always work out, and you just got to accept it and just throw it out the door and start again with something else, But what the guys always bring to the table is just, I find it incredible, and I just love what they create and what we end up with. But I think there's always times where you write something and then you record it, and then probably about 2 years later you go, well, maybe we should have done it that way or this way. But I think the nicest thing too is that with a lot of our songs, we can actually we have opportunities to play acoustic and stuff like that, and then you can bring out a different version of the song and something that's probably a little bit more meaningful rather than that rock song that everyone knows, sort of thing.
Right. Nice. Shleems asks, do you all have recording gear at home that you work out ideas on?
I've got a very rudimentary setup, but it's served us well. And when I first joined the band, Roy gave me some the bones of the songs. So I, unfortunately, during the COVID lockdown, I was able to spend a month or two working on them and writing my parts for all those songs, and recorded them at home. Yeah, that was good because then we had the product to take to the studio and put on the CD.
Nice.
The old CD, old school. See? Tapes. I'm still using tapes here, actually.
Perfect. Some of the best music ever was recorded on tape.
Yeah, right.
Many of those acts were mentioned on this show earlier. Okay, money, no objects. And this again is another question from Shaleem. Who would be on your wish list of producers?
Oh. Gee, I was just going to say we've got a great producer. I don't want to go there.
Good answer. Good.
Tim Julian. Hats off to Tim Julian.
Yeah, Tim Julian.
Very good.
Absolutely. I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, if you haven't checked out another local artist, Grant Hoa, I think he's incredible. He's doing really well in France as well, and he uses the same producer as us and the same studio as well. So just a shout out if you want to listen to some great music as well. He's the man to listen to.
Nice.
If I can just shout out one more name, Mutt Lang, purely because Back in Black is one of my favourite albums of all time. And I think the production on it is so honest and true. And I think, him, I'd have to mention him.
Mutt Lang, and then you could meet Shania Twain because they're married.
Well, there you go. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just catching up on the chat. I think there's a whole conversation going on, and I've missed some of it. So, just one more question. I think, unless I've missed one. Do you prefer playing festivals or smaller gigs?
Personally, I don't mind what the gig is, to be quite honest. Whether it's a small whānau family gathering and chill out in the backyard, or festivals. I mean, they've all got their different feeling and they've all got their different vibe. And I think it's just enjoying music is the main thing. I think a lot of people get lost in all its fame and stuff. I think the main thing about music is just to enjoy it and to be able to give that gift to other people and hope them, make them feel better and stuff. I think it should be the main objective in music. I don't think you should really go for fame or anything like that, or the big stage or whatever. Just enjoy doing what you do.
Right.
Yeah, and on what Roy's saying, we're so incredibly blessed here in New Zealand that we actually can go out and play gigs where a lot of the world can't at the moment. So yeah, just the opportunity to go live and playing gigs when so many people are just dying to get out there and play and missing live gigs. So yeah, any gig, big or small, you got to just take it and appreciate it and be thankful for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're all in union. Nice. Okay. Actually, so tell us about your CD. I'm going to bring a picture up now. Here you go. So your CD actually came out in September last year. So tell us about how did that all come about?
Just putting music together, thoughts and ideas. It took a while to get to where it was, to be quite honest, for different sorts of reasons, and like all bands and stuff like that, it's difficult to try and keep things together from the start and stuff like that. But eventually we got around to the album. We really enjoyed putting it together, and like you say, with the different genres and stuff. And we're looking forward to the next single coming out soon as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, You were just finishing the recording. That's not quite finished the recording that yet, though, right?
No, we've just got the bass and vocals to put down next week, and according to Tim, it's just a matter of mixing it, and it's good to go. Which is, that's good news.
Well, you mentioned bass, so I have to have a go at Ryan. Always waiting for the bass.
When I'm not working 8 days a week, see what I did there? I'll get them to you.
Very, very clever. Let me bring everybody back on.
I have my moments.
Nice. So, any ideas when that single is going to be available to be listened to and purchased online?
Hopefully as soon as possible, within the next 3 weeks or so. That Tim likes to sort of mix it, and then he sort of gives it a week or so to listen to it in his car and all that sort of stuff. Yep. So he is very particular about what he records, as you know. So
excellent.
Hopefully about 3 weeks.
Excellent. Actually, if you, I know Tracy does a lot of your communication for you. If you get Tracy to send me a link, and I'll help promote it on our social media as well.
I'm sure the guys will agree. It's pretty catchy, eh?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been hearing it all night. It's very good.
So now, I want to kind of talk a little bit about some of the songs you got on there, because they are really all over the place, and I kind of give people an idea. Is I did a post Adios on the website, and it's kind of a nice mellow song. But the second track, Ain't Got Time, seems to be completely different, and it was something that doesn't really sound like them, but I thought it would be something perfect for the Blues Brothers to do live, while John Belushi was still around.
Yeah.
Well, the funny story about Ain't Got the Time was actually it was literally just walk into the studio and record it. So it really was Ain't Got Time for the album. So it was done on the spot, basically.
Yeah. Actually, that one actually really did just jump out, because I'm a massive. I will watch the Blues Brothers movies. I've got they have like 3 original albums. I've got those as well. Anyway, so I love that stuff. And also,
I'm a fan too. That's good.
Oh yeah, good.
Definitely.
With The Devil Within, there was a hint of the Guess Who, which is a Winnipeg band. I felt a little bit Little American Woman, maybe a little hints in there or something. So there's a kind of, I could probably keep going, but there was a couple I couldn't pin down for a genre either. So well done. I mean, you really are really nailing this stuff.
Thank you very much. I mean, people always sort of comment on what the songs sound like, but I don't know generally what they're going to end up like when they come out. It's just down to the guys and the band, the product. But yeah, that's cool. That's very cool.
That's feedback I get at most gigs, is that they've really enjoyed the variety of what we're playing. It's not all the same all night, which is terrific, and it just comes naturally. It's great.
That's excellent. Yes, that's interesting, Roy, that you should say that. It's really you release the song to the guys, and the guys add themselves to it. I kind of have that approach when I'm writing. I really rarely do I know how I want the song to finally come out, and so I do rely on Ryan. And every time we have a different drummer, because we'll play occasional gigs with drums, and then our sound completely changes. The sound
we're actually
changes.
Very excited. In a couple of weeks, I think at the end of March, we're actually going to do a local gig. And I think we're excited because it's actually finally a chance for us to play our slower songs at the beginning of the night as well. Because when you go and play big stage gigs and stuff like that, generally you have to play rock and upbeat songs. So definitely at the end of March, we've actually finally got a chance to actually play our slower songs as well and enjoy those as well, which is always nice. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, there were a couple of questions. So Shlima was asking, what are your thoughts on long songs? A lot of progressive music is long. Your music on the EP, your songs on the EP are under 4 minutes. Do you keep them this length as a preference?
no, that's just how my brain works. Very short.
No. Okay, fair enough. And
One longer song, haven't we? Magpie's a good length.
Yeah, we've got a pretty epic song coming up in the next album. Yeah, hopefully we'll go off on a bit of a tangent and have some fun with that one.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same. We had last week on the show. We had Black Eyed Susie, who we were teasing, or were being teased anyway, about doing longer songs. And of course, I'm unlike you. I'll stick to average about 3.5 minutes a song, somewhere a little bit longer. So it's,
yeah.
So it just again, it's not.
The Beatles never really played very long songs, did they? They were like, So,
yeah, at the beginning, yeah.
Very catchy, very quick.
Just towards the end, they lengthened. I do have a couple of longer songs, but yeah, mostly I can. If I know I'm playing for 45 minutes, I just divide 45 minutes by 3.5, and I know how many songs I need. This little average.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
I don't think we've ever really gone past about the 4-minute mark, do we? Did we?
Not rare. No, we do have a couple of new songs that are closer to 5.
Yeah, okay.
On the new album, which will be coming out in a few months because I'm waiting for bass lines. Bass lines!
8 days away, remember.
We got a song called Magpie that probably could last, I don't know, how long do you reckon, guys? Probably about 10 minutes if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Magpie is a free bird?
Yeah.
Well, you could say that. It's so cool.
We mentioned Leonard Skinner earlier. I sorry, I couldn't resist. Long songs, Leonard Skinner, Magpie, bird. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm on tonight.
Okay, another question from Shalim. Your thoughts on releasing singles versus albums?
Wow.
I actually mentioned this the other night when we were at the studio, and singles no longer have B-sides anymore, obviously, because it's not a tangible piece of vinyl with 2 sides on it. So a single now is only 1 song rather than 2 songs, as it always was. The singles I think are just a means to an album. Without, if you know what I mean, you got to have single songs in order to produce an album.
Well, as a way of promoting your album. Hey, we've got an album coming out in a year or in 6 months. Here's a taste or something, right? It was just a different marketing, right? Or a way to get your band out there and say, hell yeah, I really like that, and then you buy the album and then you go see them while they're on tour, right? That was but that doesn't really. You're right. It doesn't really fit anymore, does it? That whole idea of that type of single. A single actually just is 1 song.
Yeah.
Unless they've put 2 songs in 1 track.
Yeah.
Well, there is that. Yeah.
Things have changed. I do remember running out and getting my. I think it was in the 1970s. The first single I think was Rolf Harris's "Two Little Boys." I really love that. And that had 2 tracks, but I can never remember the last one. Yes, I'm showing my age. Anyhow,
Jake the Pig.
Yeah. But you know what? Here's the funny thing is, I remember when I was young, which I sort of came of age in the 90s. We were still buying singles. There's still singles being produced. They were on CDs, and there were 4-track CDs that you bought for like a third of the cost of a normal CD. And they were, they still had 1/4-inch tapes and cassettes and all that stuff. So that didn't die out until well into the 2000s, early 2000s, right? So when somebody said they were releasing a single, you usually got, depending on the genre, you usually got like your song that they were promoting. That was usually their big music video. And then they got like remixes, or like, here's a couple other tracks that are coming up on the new album, like that kind of stuff. Right. So, and then they re-release singles. So they'd promo the album with the single, and then the album would come out, and then you could go buy the single with remastered and redubbed stuff. It's just like, just any chance they could get to sell you something, right? So
I think the main idea behind this new single that we're actually putting together at the moment was that we had such great reaction recently playing for Planet Choppers in Corrigan. And lots of people were coming up to us and saying, "Hey, man, you know, what is that song? What's the name of it?" And because of that kind of reaction and stuff, we thought, well, and we believe it will hopefully have a good reaction around the world as well, and hopefully give people hope that we can get through all this stuff everyone's going through at the moment with COVID and stuff like that as well, even though it's not directly aimed at that.
Excellent. Just want to shout out Tracy Chihart, has been watching all along apparently. So hi Tracy, thanks for joining us. So she's your manager, or is she a representative at the label?
Yeah, Tracy's our manager.
She's the manager. Yep. Okay, I wasn't sure what the relationship was there, but now we know. So yeah, that's great. Well, we have reached the top of the hour. We got a few more minutes. We'll just, I think, start closing things down. So don't forget that you can get links to pretty much everything in the description. If in doubt, check out Hybrid Blues websites. So we have on Facebook, look at the description above. On YouTube, look at the description below, and go check that out. And if you need any further information that you can't find, just drop us a line at the Invisible Man, and I'll be happy to point you in the right direction. And of course, I just want to say that we've got a couple other shows. If you like what you've seen, and even if you haven't, go check out Welcome to the Madhouse every Tuesday, which is the focus on British rock music, which is hosted by Adam Feasy, and I jump in every now and again. That's at 8 p.m. in UK time, 2 p.m. and Winnipeg time, so Central on a Wednesday. I should probably give you the dates. And every second Sunday we do the Invisible Song Club, where we review some of the best music in the world. 2 songs, and we do that every 2 weeks. So a week tomorrow will be the next show. So check those out. Details on all of those shows and everything that we're doing is on theinvisibleman.ca. And come and check us out on all of your favourite social media. I'd be love to hear from you. A very big thank you to Roy Grant and Mike for joining us all the way from New Zealand. And it's what? Yeah, it's still early morning for you guys, right? As musicians.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, yeah.
This Sunday morning. Well, thank you so much
Sunday
for getting
morning.
up.
So it'd be about 10 o'clock now, I think, because you guys were about 9 when we started. I think, so Sunday at 10.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
They have called us from the future.
Yeah.
Or from the
I'm going off to get my bacon butty now. Bacon and egg.
With brown sauce, Mike.
Yeah, with beetroot.
It's Scottish delicacy.
Just don't overdo it like I did. All right. Okay, so thank you once again, and thank you for the audience for joining us. We will catch you next week at the same time. This time we have the greatest Winnipeg band ever. It's All in the Mind. Oh no, that's me and Ryan. And we're going to be talking about upcoming music. We've got lots of music that we're creating. We're producing. We're going to be releasing and re-releasing stuff. We've got some music videos that are coming out as well. We'll be talking about all that stuff. And there'll be some live performances as well. So thank you very much for joining us. And thanks again, guys, all the way from New Zealand. I really appreciate you coming on the show. And
Thank
we'll
you.
catch everybody else next week. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Hey, guys.
Oh, the invisible